Hello and welcome to Hey, I Loved That Movie, the podcast where we rewatch the films we loved when we were younger to see if they still hold up. I'm Dan,
I'm Michael.
And I'm Helena.
and for this episode we watched Daddy Daycare.
Woohoo! Fuck. Yeah. I just want to clarify I am ill. My voice sounds like this, and you're going to have to deal with it. Because I have to.
So, who suggested this film?
This is my suggestion. Had either of you actually seen this before?
Yeah, I love this
Yeah,
film.
yeah.
as a kid.
I saw it once as a kid and really enjoyed it. I've
Oh,
fond
good. I
memories
thought
of this film.
You were both going to be like, no, I've not seen it.
No, I had this film on video, not like an actual video, like taped from the TV.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up something about that actually, because this film kind of unlocked a memory that I'm surprised hadn't come up yet, which was this I had on DVD, but it was those, you know when you have a big folder of totally legitimate DVDs?
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
Yeah, it was one of those.
Yeah.
It was in that folder.
Yeah,
I watched it quite a few times. I think in a short period of time, I watched it a lot, and then never again.
Yeah, the
Fair enough.
completely legal DVD folder
Exactly.
that has DVDs that feel slightly weird.
Well, you know it's legit because they use nice handwriting to write using the Sharpie on the front.
Yeah.
Exactly, or like the actual printable
Yeah.
circles.
But it's like slightly fuzzy texture.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
not like an actual. Well, not like other.
Did you ever buy
DVDs.
them actually in like pirated? I mean, not pirated. Seriously legitimate.
Yeah.
Cases with the badly inkjet printer
Yes.
printed out.
I mean,
insert
no.
that didn't actually insert properly.
Yeah, it was also wasn't a DVD case. It was like a something else case. It wasn't like a proper DVD case.
Yeah, I think some of mine were possibly rented from Blockbuster, and then
Then Blockbuster went bust.
So it's your fault, really. It sounds like it's your fault that
You-
Blockbuster went under.
Yeah.
not me personally.
The amount.
I would have been like 12. I'm not the one doing it.
Can you
Not
imagine
that smart.
like playing if you were in a position where you knew like you were paying attention to like companies' finances and stuff? If you saw Blockbuster was starting to go down, would you just rent a load of stuff from Blockbuster and not give it back?
Yeah, just keep them. Yeah.
Yeah, would you just
I
like
don't know, because I feel like their auditors in that might come down really hard on getting those DVDs back.
would they? Did they? I don't know if they
I
did.
don't know.
I can't imagine they would. I think they'd just
My
go bankrupt.
parents,
and
we
give
didn't
up.
really use Blockbuster super often because my parents were crap at taking them back.
Right.
That doesn't surprise me. I've met them.
It's the same reason
around-
we didn't have that many library books.
This is around the time like Netflix used to post you with DVDs.
Yes, and occasionally the wrong one.
Yeah. Which would be really funny.
Our Blockbuster was particularly ropey as well. There was a couple of times I rented movies from them and they just straight up didn't work.
You sure it was an actual Blockbuster and not just like a good local DVD place that gave itself the title?
That called itself Blockbuster and painted everything blue and yellow.
Yeah. Can you imagine now if like streaming services were as unreliable as like Blockbuster and that used to be, where like you'd press play on something and it'd play the wrong film?
I remember my 15th birthday. I don't know if I've told this story on the pod or not, but on my 15th birthday, we hired a bunch of scary films because I was being brave. And one of them was Let the Right One In, the
Okay.
Swedish one. And yeah, it didn't have any sound, but because it was a spooky horror movie, we were about 5 minutes in before we realised.
So you watched it and realised at the end.
We didn't quite get
I'm
that far,
just
but yeah.
imagining, like, you know, loading up Netflix and pressing play, and it gets part way through, and then it's like, sorry, there's a big fucking scratch through this one.
It just starts skipping.
To
Or
be
like-
fair, my TV takes the place of Blockbuster quite well in that respect.
that is
Sometimes it just the other day the screen went black. It started playing we think it must have been like the top suggestion for the morning on like Amazon Prime. And yeah, we listened to about 30 seconds of that before it just died.
Yeah.
That was while we were trying to open Netflix.
Great.
That sounds like a great TV.
That does like one. Yeah.
Like I said, there is actually a minimum you should spend on a TV.
Yeah.
And we didn't hit that mark.
To be like, the one thing that streaming services do that is very reminiscent of like old Blockbuster and old like DVD and video rentals, if you share an account with someone and people forget to rewind the things they've watched, that's still a problem. Like you press play and so it's like halfway through you're like, oh god damn.
Yeah, I also...
It's the same problem. That's one problem they cannot fix. Well, they have done by having multiple accounts.
I mean, I wouldn't ever use someone else's account because, you know.
If you're in the same household, it's fine. Netflix, Amazon, if you're listening.
We live
You're
together.
In the same household, it's fine, and there's no way you can tell otherwise.
Just all three of us, and my mum and dad, and my in-laws.
Yeah.
And
it's all good.
one of Jim's friends.
Stop giving them evidence. They can't stop us. No, they might be able to stop. It's...
Maybe.
Anyway, Daddy Take.
So, Daddy Take.
Immediately on a tangent. This film.
It's cute. It's a very cute film.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's just a nice, like, sort of kids' comedy movie with Eddie Murphy in, and what's the name of the other guy?
Remember his
Jeff
character's name.
Garlin.
That's it.
Regina King is his wife, and I'm like, damn, she was really good in Watchmen.
Yeah.
And one of the little kids is Elle Fanning as well.
Right.
Yeah, I
sister,
thought
yeah.
she's so adorable in this.
I was expecting more of the kids to be like now famous people. I was
Yeah,
expecting
it's
like
literally
one or
just
two
of
to be
them.
like huge now.
Are any of them
Yeah.
big, apart from Elle Fanning?
I don't think so.
One of them grew up to be Denzel Washington.
Really weird time. He was already grown up whilst they were filming this. It was weird. Weird that he played Eddie Murphy's son. No, I don't think any of them, I think a lot of them did other like voice acting and stuff, but I don't think any of them became like got the big break. Weirdly enough, this film wasn't their big break.
No.
So we should describe what this film is about, although it's not difficult to understand.
Yeah,
from
the
the
basic principle is that Eddie Murphy is an overworked dad, and he works for a cereal company, and I think he's in advertising or something, and they're trying to promote Veggie O's.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
healthy food. 'Cause
vegetable cereal sounds like the fucking worst.
he's in the health section.
Yeah.
To
Do
be
you think
fair,
at one point they tried just like bag of frozen peas, pour milk on it? There you go.
to be fair, like aren't grains vegetables?
Maybe. Just like Cheerios, but
know.
worse.
I mean, bread is not one of your 5 a day, so.
Depends how much you eat.
Depends how much. It depends. Hey, someone has made a lot of bread recently because when I'm ill, I make bread. Apparently, depends how much of what you put in it.
Yeah, didn't you put sun-dried
I
tomatoes in
put
your
sun-dried
bread?
tomatoes in it. Those are vegetables.
Oh my god, this is the Jamie Oliver pizza is not one of your 5 a day.
Yeah, again, depends what you put
Um,
on top of it. Jamie Oliver. Jamie Oliver can go fuck himself. Like Jamie Oliver ruined like British children's food, but he did create one of the best moments of television ever, where he showed a load of kids how chicken nuggets were made. Does anyone remember this?
Yeah, and it was expecting them to be really grossed out, and then at the end it was like, well, do you want to eat chicken nuggets now? And they're all like,
Everyone put their hand up. It
yep.
was absolutely amazing. When he went on his tirade against fun food,
Yeah.
because everyone should eat more healthy. Which, to be fair, like he did a good job. Kids are now eating more healthier, and school dinners are nicer. However, his comeback to be like, food now, like expensive food is better for you, and he's not arguing that food should be cheaper. He's arguing that people should be.
that
buying
was, I
more
think, yeah, the
expensive
bit
food.
that was missed out of a lot of his show was that the kids that were being fed through the bars of
Yeah,
school,
were
the
very
school
poor.
grounds, were the poor kids that couldn't afford the new menus.
Yeah,
And like a lot of them ended up eating worse off the new style menus because they couldn't afford the fancy
Yeah.
options, so they would end up having like just a bowl of plain pasta or something like that.
yeah. And then he came in during the lockdown. Well, at the end of the lockdown, when everyone was fucking struggling and was like, everyone should eat expensive food. They should
Yeah.
get rid of cheap, bad for you food.
Yeah.
And, like,
also,
what-
you should just grow everything you can in your garden that
Yeah.
you have.
Yeah, and marched down to Parliament with Eton Mess being like, everyone should eat this. Awful person.
Yeah.
Tone deaf.
Also, he's
I
really
think.
annoying, and his restaurants kind of suck.
Yeah, also like his recipes just don't work. They just don't. He doesn't test them properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always
Anyway,
hate when,
daddy daycare.
No, I want to talk about Jamie Oliver for a bit.
I was gonna say I hate when they're like, this is a nice simple recipe, you can make it in like just a couple of minutes, it's with items you just have around the home. Now open up this
Right.
rarest spice that you've never heard of, and this tomato that only grows in the arsehole regions of
Yeah,
France.
open your huge thing
Open
of
your pantry and take
saffron
out your star anise.
and your large bottle of saffron, the most expensive spice on the planet, only grows in one place in the world. Anyway, use half of that here.
And
And
literally all it does is make your curry look slightly more yellow.
Yeah, Jamie Oliver's the worst for it as well, because he will just be like, I do a meal for £5 and you can have a full meal, and then like half of the stuff he's like you're expected to have.
Yeah.
So it doesn't count towards the price.
Yeah.
So you buy like beef for £4 and then you have like rice and stuff. Everyone does.
Oh, and the onions are in the pantry and
Yeah.
or grown at home, and yeah.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
fucking worst. The absolute fucking worst.
So the equivalent of Jamie Oliver in this would be the woman that owns the nursery that they put
Yes.
the kid into
Yeah,
at
she
first.
is
that they-
pompous. So they basically, it's Eddie Murphy is an advertiser man.
Yeah,
Doesn't
so
matter.
it
I
works.
forgot
He
we
barely
were talking-
spends time with his kid. Like,
I forgot we were talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know, around about
Yeah, he doesn't see his
2002.
little boy very much. He's really busy, but his wife's about to go back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they need to put their kid in nursery.
Yeah.
And there's only one decent nursery around, and it is posh as fuck and has a price tag to match.
Yes, it is
Yeah.
It is run by Morticia Adams.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it is full of kids who will definitely, if they stay there, grow up to hate themselves and feel like failures.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
hey, they won't just hate themselves; they'll hate everyone else too.
exactly.
I mean, I don't know. I really benefited from private primary school. I think I came into secondary school like way more confident and prepared than a lot of people in my year.
And now we're all sitting here equal talking about daddy daycare.
Look. It's I mean that like good schools that should be available for everyone, not just people.
Yeah,
who
no,
afford it,
absolutely, and I think that shows the problem here is that I mean that's exactly what the problem was, is that
Yeah.
that was the only option was. Oh, they
Expensive
said
school.
was it like £1,000 a month or something?
They didn't say. They didn't.
Oh yeah, I
say
suppose
how
they didn't
much
want to age
was.
it.
Yeah.
But they were saying like, oh, so that's how much per term, and she was like, per month.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
It's it. I mean, private like those kinds of schools are good for kids. However, this one is insane. This
Yeah.
one is
Yeah,
like,
this one is ridiculously over the top of like militant, awful.
yeah,
Like,
they make
Yeah,
it.
it's
children
teaching
must
the kids a
learn.
little. I mean, it gives them lots of opportunities. Like there's the one where they're doing like little like Tai Chi outside, and
Yeah,
but then that whole like they have to sit still and recite maths and stuff is not great when they're that
they're
young.
not allowed to have fun.
Yeah.
And, like the bit where later on in the film where the head teacher's like on the phone to one of the teachers being like, I will have to pull your child out of school if he keeps sucking his thumb.
Yeah.
Fuck off. That's your brother. That's kind of what you should be dealing with.
Because VeggieOs is an obvious failure, Eddie Murphy and his friend both get fired.
So they're not just VeggieOs. They're they're the health food subdivision of the company,
Yeah.
and the
they'll
whole
get
subdivision gets cut because it's obviously a hell of a lot easier to sell Sugarios and what was the one with like marshmallows and stuff, and
Yeah. It was like chocolate, mega choco balls or something.
yeah.
The when they do the test, when they're doing like the study group test, the focus test with the kids and the outfits, when those kids are wild.
Yeah, no, that was amazing.
They're just like, oh, we hate it. They're like, they
So
almost
they're doing,
kill
it's a
them.
focus group. The kids they have to eat like a bowl of the VeggieOs, and while they're being talked at by guys dressed as a carrot and a broccoli.
One of them is an actor. Another one is the male guy because the other person dropped out.
Yeah.
Just set up because the male guy comes back later. What's his
Yeah.
name? Marvin.
Marvin.
Marvin, yeah, that's
Marvin the nerd.
Marvin. Then yeah, yeah. But yeah, the kids.
Anyway, the
go-
kids, they go they're like, they
fucking
obviously they
wild.
take a bite of it and like spit it out because they look like, and they probably are, Fruit Loops or like coloured Cheerios.
Yeah, but yeah,
Someone's just painstakingly from props had to pick out all the green and orange ones.
Yep.
But yeah, shockingly, the kids are not fans of Veggios and spit them out. But then one of them like lobs their cereal at not at the broccoli, but at the
window
mirror. The one-way mirror, two-way mirror, whatever it's where they're being observed. So it's like the kids. I don't know. Is that like are the kids like regulars? Do they know that's a two-way mirror and they're being watched while they
fucking wild? Like they just
they're just that angry.
Imagine you've been told by your mum, "Oh, you're going to go and try some new tasty cereal today from the makers of Chockios," and then you have a bowl full of sprouts.
Yeah, you would destroy the room you're in and try to kill a man. They would have. Those kids were wild.
They were like ripping chunks out of the costume and kicking the poor broccoli on the ground. Absolutely wild.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being that naughty as a kid. I was so terrified of being bad as a kid. I was never naughty.
Angry about cereal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably be like, I don't like this very much. Sorry.
No,
and then sit there and not eat anymore.
1 out of 10, how much? 1, cool. I can't imagine being that angry about something I got to do for free. To be honest, I probably wouldn't do it. I'd have a panic attack.
Yeah, I'd be so upset that I didn't like it that I'd probably cry.
Yeah.
I wanted to like it.
I did.
Basically.
I'm sorry, it's just not good.
What do you think the crossover is between kids who would have that reaction to bad cereal and people who do podcasts is?
Probably quite high for certain, but I don't know. Have you seen some podcasts now?
Oh yeah, there's some pretty cool people doing podcasts.
There's some pretty podcasting is now cool. We disagree with that mainly because again we're going to start a fight with podcasts, but I'm here for it today. I'm feeling spicy. There are so many people doing podcasts now where it's just like it's just them talking. I'm just mad.
It's just because they're a celebrity and their managers are people who are completely out of touch who are like, podcasts are cool now, do one.
Yeah.
And everyone's like,
sure. It's always like a video podcast as well, and it's wild to me that there are people that don't just listen to the podcast; they have to like sit and watch it. Yeah, we're never doing that. I'm not okay enough to ever do that.
Oh, you guys haven't been filming?
It's just you and then our pictures. That's it. But yeah, Daddy Daycare. So they get fired. Like 300 people lose their job because it's an advertising firm and it's evil.
Yes. Well, it's not evil, but the whole... I don't know.
It's an advertising firm. It's evil. The guy that works with them, works in a different department, is an arsehole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's really smug. Because he's basically like, we don't even have to work because chocolate cereal sells itself.
Yeah. But yeah, then it goes to like Eddie Murphy and his friend struggling. Like he needs to look for another job, but they can't find another daycare.
He's like, I'm an advertising man. I'm going to get a job like tomorrow. Don't worry about it. And then it pans to like, was it 6 months later?
Yeah,
6 weeks later.
6 weeks later, yeah.
And it's like they can't afford the really expensive school now. So they try and find some other daycares, and they're just
the
awful.
Montage of other daycares.
Yeah, one of them is just like a trailer with some woman smoking a cigarette and like 10 babies in there.
It felt very poverty kind of beating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in a huge house. But also, there is that.
But one of them was quite funny, was just like, oh, this is where we keep the children. And then they like open up the coal cellar, and before they look in, they just like walk away like, nope, 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 nope.
Yeah.
I do like the joke at the end as well of like, now this one looks really nice. I can't imagine anything going wrong. And then just like 4 police cars like surround the building.
Yeah.
Just run away. This film has a lot of montage, isn't it? I'm remembering, I'm realizing now, this film has a lot of like funny montages.
Yeah. So the two dads just decide that they should open an affordable but good daycare called Daddy Daycare. And when they're trying to set it up, like a few of the like mums and that are a bit sexist about the idea of them doing the daycare.
Yeah, they're like,
and then this one mum just walks up and she's like, I don't care, it's cheap, here you go, take my kid.
Well, she's like, yeah, but like vouch. Yeah, and like I'll vouch for him, and she's like, if you fuck this up, I will kill you. Basically, It's Dr. Cuddy from Thingy, isn't it? House.
I have not seen House.
I don't think. I know she's a really funny actress. I think she's a comedian.
Lisa Edelstein. No, it's
yeah.
She's from House. She's Dr. Cuddy.
Huh.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, they start daddy daycare, and I don't know,
Yeah.
I quite like that this film is. Well, I don't like that it presents the men as kind of incompetent to begin with. That sort of
But
idea.
I mean, it's one of those tropes, isn't it? Like the whole point is
Yeah.
that they've both been quite absent fathers, not in a negative way, but in a like they've been working really hard in a
Yeah.
pretty thankless
Yeah.
job, and now they actually get to spend time with their kids. Of course, it's overwhelming.
Yeah, it is. It is very nice watching them sort of become proper.
Yeah, getting better at it and getting to like they're learning while the kids are learning, and it's
Yeah.
it's way cuter than it should be, and it's way more wholesome than anything with Eddie Murphy normally is. That's like a
How dare
comedy.
you? Haunted House is great. Haunted Mansion is great.
No, Eddie Murphy
yeah.
is usually someone I avoid in cinema.
Yeah.
I hate like a lot of his starring, like for what he's famous for,
Yeah.
like Norbit and those kind of.
Oh, you mean the number one hit Party All the Time?
Hmm.
The 80s hit Party All the Time. Which I had to pause this film to go and listen to because I had to.
But so they get a handful of kids and they start off with what, 8 or 9?
Yeah.
They're all sort of like wildly different as well. There's the one kid that's allergic to everything and isn't allowed any like certain dyes and stuff.
Yeah.
There's the kid who's just a fucking nightmare.
Well, she's like the smart kid, isn't she? The
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
that's like
She's
allergic
just
to
very
everything.
quiet and yeah.
She just wants to be like she's that kid that wants to be like every adult in the room.
Yeah.
And it's really I like the way they gave all the kids very independent personalities, and then they never just like made them boring. Never made them the children.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're all
they're
very,
all
like-
their own little characters. Like I like the kid who he's dressed in the Flash costume,
Yeah, he's the Flash.
and he never takes it off.
Yeah,
He
he's the
just runs
Flash.
around everywhere.
There's the kid that screams to not want to leave. The kid that doesn't want to leave his mum,
Until he's
Oh,
bribed.
yeah.
but will
And
with
then
money.
he gives him money, and then he's
Yeah.
like, "Ooh,
brilliant, like running gag. Yeah, like all the kids are great. There's the kid with anger issues, and then you realize his parents are terrible.
Well, his dad
Yeah.
is the awful bloke from the awful advertising guy from the unhealthy food section.
Yeah, and his mum's like, "Don't get angry, you'll get wrinkles." That's awful.
Yeah. No, that kid's messed up, but it's like he actually starts saying but because of their good influence, remember, like
Yeah.
he starts saying thank you and
Yeah, he starts to be polite. I do like the bit where they find out that it's the guy from the advertising firm,
Amazing.
and then that guy's just being a dick, and he's like, "Hey, you're in daycare. That's ridiculous. You're looking after children." And they're just like, "Yeah, and you're paying us to do it."
Yeah.
Like-
Amazing. But yeah, they start off really well.
yeah, and like the other thing that's really sweet, I think obviously the arc we follow the closest is Eddie Murphy's own kid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Ben.
Who's
yeah.
Ben, who's super shy and really scared of everything and doesn't really know how to play with kids all that much, doesn't seem to know how to make friends. And he's the main one, like pretty much the linchpin of like why Eddie Murphy goes for it so much.
Yeah.
Because he sees it even when they're thinking about leaving or it's not working or it's hard work, like seeing his son actually like thriving in a positive environment is like, oh, we have to keep doing it because he's making friends. He's like, I think there's one scene that's really sweet is where he's just watching his son playing with a basketball with the other kids.
Yeah. It's really
And like a few scenes before, he's just been sitting on the side watching instead.
Yeah.
And it's
I
way
was-
too cute.
At first, I was worried that it, like, because I'd sort of forgotten how parts of it go, and I was worried that it was going to be like, oh, he's spending too much time looking after the other kids that he's still not looking after his own son.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad that it didn't go that way, and it was like, yeah, Ben was starting to, make friends and enjoy
Yeah, the kids
things
were never
and-
the baddies. That was
No,
nice.
no.
Like the kids had their challenges, but the baddie is obviously what's her name?
The parents.
yeah,
no,
the woman from the other
the other
Yeah.
like-
Morticia Adams.
nursery.
yeah, Morticia
Yeah.
Adams. Sorry,
Yeah,
Mrs.
because
Gwyneth
now
Halladin.
that this has opened, more and more kids are dropping out of that one to then
Which-
end up in daddy daycare.
Is really like the logic of that's really funny because they're pulling parents are pulling their kids out of this very exclusive, expensive school midway through term. Assumedly, they have already paid the school, right? You don't pay by the day; you pay it like
so
by
you
the
might pay
month, right?
monthly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so why are they pulling them out like
they
randomly?
might-
I
They
mean,
might
I
be-
suppose it means that they're not going to get charged then for the next month, and they just know that
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
going to
but
be cheaper in the long
wouldn't,
run.
wouldn't you be like, stay there until the end, stay there,
Yeah.
and then we'll pull you out of that time? It just felt really funny that it was like, oh yeah, no, the kids are dropping out randomly. It's like those parents are wasting money. The parents are not making good financial decisions.
Maybe the kids wanted to go as well, though, because some of them knew each other and they all went to that school before.
Okay, if I'm sending
Yeah,
my
if all their
kids,
friends are leaving.
if I'm sending my kid to a school that costs, if it's an amount where I look at it and go, that's for a full term, and the person's like, no, that's a month.
Yeah.
If I look at that, no matter how upset my kid is going to that fucking school until that money is used, and then the kid can go to the nice place.
Yeah. Well, I guess that, yeah, it's,
It's so weird, isn't it? These parents are making, but then again, they are in like a really nice, expensive neighborhood.
yeah, the money might not mean a great deal if it's what the kids want. And maybe they don't, I think the other issue is like a lot of these parents probably didn't want their kids in such a, like, strict and academic setting when they're still that young. Because these kids are what, like, 4, 5? Probably 5 years old to 6 years old?
Again, that would have been a very long conversation I've had with someone of being like, is it worth it?
Oh, yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be great film, would it?
It's just one of the parents being like, oh, it's a lot of money. Oh, this is a lot of
Especially when
money.
they basically already covered that with Eddie Murphy's character losing his job.
Yeah.
But the kids have a better time. They have more fun, and they're still learning.
Yeah. Until the Morticia Adam calls Child Protective Services on them.
Yeah.
Which I always assumed that you need, even in America, I assumed you needed a license to look after, to have like a daycare.
Yeah, no, they get the license. They talk about that. His wife comes home from work and they're like building a swing set. And
they get a license.
he's like, oh, we've done all the paperwork, we filed for it, it's all great. The only reason they don't get inspected until someone makes a complaint.
How the fuck did all those other places get the licenses?
They probably, people aren't complaining.
Maybe, yeah, because it's only after the complaint happens that the guy's like, okay, you need like a designated nap zone and like all these different things. But then they do actually do it, and they improve it, and then they start like asking the kids what the kids want to do as well.
Yeah, and the guy, to be fair, the guy isn't actually, CPS isn't made out to be like a big bad guy either.
No,
he's like, I
just,
don't.
like, doing
I
his
will.
job.
He's like, I will shut you down if you don't make these demands, but I hope you do. And then obviously, even though the kids have like messed up all the paperwork and cut out loads
Oh,
of
yeah, they've
shapes
done
out of the
like
paper,
a
he's like,
paper chain.
can you sign on this paper chain boy's arm and this girl's elbow, please?
Could you try them over there on the girl's neck? Right there. Yeah, there are very few bad guys. Considering this film has a lot of tension and stakes, there are very few bad people in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Mrs. Harrigan that's like evil.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because she isn't willing to compromise on her school.
Yeah.
By making it either more fun or more cheaper. Like,
That's
obviously,
awful.
she wants to hold it to a high standard, but she holds it to too high a standard that the kids are miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after a lot of the paperwork gets done, they're like, oh yeah, we've got like 13 kids now, and they're like, cool, but the ratio can't exceed 5 kids to like 1 adult.
Yeah.
But Marvin just happens to be there, like entertaining the kids at the time.
Oh, he's bringing over
yeah.
their final paycheck because he's the mailman.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, can you just like go out and look after the kids while we talk to the inspector? And then they just offer him a job. And he starts talking to, there's one of the kids who they couldn't understand, and then it just turns out he was speaking Klingon the whole time. And so Marvin can just talk to him.
Theoretically, Marvin is still working at the advertising firm, right?
He might quit.
He was just a delivery guy, though, right? Or a
Well, no,
post
he worked
guy?
in the mailroom. Like those, I think those companies.
But
have,
it was a
like,
shit job, and he
full-time
wasn't happy there,
employees.
so he probably did just quit.
No, I fully see that. I just sort of, when I watched it, I assumed that he also got fired, but he
right.
didn't work in the health food section. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was just a mail guy. Which again, by the way, when they're like, "Hey, Marvin," who earlier on in the film they're like, "Oh, you mean Marvin, the guy that sniffs the mail?" Like he set out to be creepy. The way he gets to the house and they're immediately like, "Marvin, go look after the kids." it makes me think they shouldn't have. There are points in this where they shouldn't have a daycare because they are just like random man we barely know and sniffs other people's mail. Can you go and look after a group of children, please?
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
I maybe wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, do they do a DBS check on mailmen?
They don't do any background check on anyone they hire. They look at or let look after the kids. They shouldn't have a daycare. They're really bad at it legally. Like,
Yeah, I wouldn't say this is like the best way of setting up a daycare.
No, but in terms of like child protection, just hey, random people go look after a good bunch of kids for us.
I mean, we have that in the UK though, with like childminders are not particularly like. You can have very legit, ranging from like, you know, proper
you don't have
corporate
to have
sort of thing to a lady or man in their house that minds, you know, 5 or 6 children of an evening.
True, but if I was going to a place like that and I trusted the person that was there and I knew that they had employees, fine. If I then went there and they said, "Oh yeah, I've got me mate," I've got not even me mate, someone that used to work at the same company as me that I don't really know that well, outside the back playing with the kids, I wouldn't trust that. And then they were like, "We hired him because we had to."
Yeah.
We didn't actually hire him. We just kind of said we would.
Yeah. It's obviously that's not how you hire people.
Fuck. But he is good with kids though.
He's really good with kids and he really enjoys himself, and he's like, I remember because they were absolutely at this stage, like they really hadn't got a hand on it properly. Like the kids were running pretty wild a lot of the time. Well,
they decided to feed, unlike the first day, they decided to feed the kids chocolate and everything.
Yeah, that's the only scene of the film that I remembered coming back into this from when I was a kid, was that they feed them all like utter crap, because the kids are like gobbling it down, and then the kids obviously get really excited and go absolutely mental. And then they're like, I just remember that line where Jeff Garlin's character is like, "What goes up must come down," and all the kids are like just passed out. Yeah.
The idea that, I mean, it kind of falls apart when you have these people who work in the health food section of a cereal place going, the kids seem to be happy when you feed them chocolate. They'd know what was going to happen, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you saw what happened when they gave them Veggios. That wasn't
true.
good either.
That is true.
And the shit beaten out of them either way.
They lose their shit. But yeah,
some of the bits in this are just so funny. Like they get all the kids engaged by doing a sort of WWE style fight between the broccoli and the carrot costume, which they've just stolen from work. But I guess it was their department, so whatever.
Yeah, actually, they just bin it. So
yeah,
because it's so when they're in those costumes that the the inspector guy comes round. Isn't it?
He comes out the second time, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I like the the bits that's in the like the sort of montages where it's like seeing what the kids want to do, and then for some reason like the minivan that they paint was really like stuck in my head.
Yeah.
But then there's a couple of bits which are just like not tropes, but like staples of comedy movies where it's like, hey, look, they've got to remove a beehive.
Oh yeah.
And then he's chased by bees. Or the bit I like is the pet show and tell, and then the little girl's like, I had a tarantula, but I don't know where he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a tarantula in this glass case with no lid.
But they the kids are all having fun, and they're all real good little actors as well.
Yeah.
They go on like they have that sit down conversation with the kids where they're like, so what do you want from the like, we need a focus group to find out how to make our nursery better. And then they're like, well, we've got one, like, let's do this. And it sort of like brings their advertising back, and they're like, so tell us what you want. And they all have like good ideas, and even his son that's really shy speaks up. He's like, he wants to do more drawing, and they want to learn stuff. They want the smart little girl is like, you have to feed our minds.
Yeah.
So that's when they start doing like the little day trips in the painted van, and it's so cute. And they like, there was some sort of little concert that the posh school were doing in the park, and the kids just like, obviously I think it's pretty rude, but it's pretty funny. They like just run through it screaming and having a whale of a time while the kids there look really bored.
I loved that, like the focus group when the Flash kid was like, we need to fight villains like the Joker, and Marvin's like, no.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're like the bits for the adults as well were great, where the proper nerdy stuff. Like it's not. You'd be like this kind of villain, not that kind of villain.
Yeah, you just don't
Yeah,
find
he's
the
just trying to
Joker.
list like Flash villains, and every single one the kid says is just a villain of someone else.
What are you teaching these children? Oh, that's great. Marvin, I like to think that the montage scenes is like they were just to make the film. They were just like, why don't we just take the kids out for?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Fun.
definitely. A lot of it is acting, but then a lot of it is very method in that the kids are just having fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Um,
I'd like to think that the set people and the producer was just like, I need a list of things that kids can have fun doing, and we're gonna organize days out for filming.
And
That
there's
makes me
there's
so
some really
happy.
good like one-liners in there stuck in there as well. Like one of my favorites was it's a really nice scene where the Eddie Murphy's little boy he's reading him a bedtime story, and they're doing like reading about the elephant, and he's like, and the elephant goes
Yeah.
like elephant noise, and then he's like, do it again, and he's like, I'm not going to do that again because I'll have an
Have an
aneurysm.
Yeah.
Yeah. This film is just really like it's very typical plot wise. Is it
Yeah.
like it has, but it hits
Until a
them
kid
really
goes
well.
missing.
Until a kid goes missing. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, that bit, like, as soon as that bit started and they were like, Flash is missing, I just kind of remembered what the outcome was, and I was like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
so-
It's pretty.
yeah.
It's one of those ones where it's like it's obvious, like you know it's not going to go down like a child like
child's
kidnapping
been
No.
kidnapped. and-
taken
Although
situation.
There were films at the time that had that
Hmm.
that did do that. Like Cheaper by the Dozen did that.
Did they?
Where like a kid goes, a kid just straight up goes missing.
Ooh, worst nightmare.
Yeah, no, instead in this it just turns out that the kid who always dresses as Flash that's gone missing just decided to take off his Flash costume and they didn't recognise him.
He's no longer.
And he's just sitting there eating cereal.
It's so. I love the development. Surprisingly, the kids get a lot of development. Like,
Yeah.
character development, and it's really sweet because, like, Eddie Murphy's character knows all of the kids and is like talking about all the kids and what they're like and how they've developed, and it's really sweet.
Because
Yeah.
they then do this fundraiser because they need more space basically.
Yeah, because
They can't work out of the home anymore because
if
they
you
want
have
to take
more
on more
than-
kids.
yeah, it's like if you have more than 50, that was it. Is the guy came around to say if you have more than 15 kids, you can't do it in a residential zone. You
Yeah.
need to have a separate space, and they're like, "Oh shit, who are we getting rid of?" Which is like a really good tension.
Yeah, because it was if you have more than 13 kids and they had 15.
Yeah, that was it.
And it was because they thought that because there was 3 of them, they had the 1-to-5 ratio, but they didn't know about the next bit.
The second bit, which again should probably be reading up on these things.
Yeah, but I guess
If
they
you
had
can-
their hands full at the same time.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, so they do like a little fundraiser to try and earn money to buy an old comic shop that Marvin knows about.
Yeah, well, it's because they couldn't get rid of any of the kids. Like that
Yeah.
was the thing. Is
Yeah.
that they were like, "Who do we get rid of?" And they said, "We can't because they're all important,
Yeah,
or they
Yeah,
just have to
exactly.
go back to the posh school."
Yeah.
Which he doesn't want to send them to because they're all developing really well. Like you have the Flash kid not being the Flash anymore. Which the sweetest thing in that conversation, that like with the Flash scene, is when he says like, "I don't want to be the Flash anymore."
yeah. I want to be
It's
Tony.
so sweet.
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
'Cause
there
but
are
their
kids-
fundraiser gets sabotaged.
It's going really well. Which, by the way, they need a lot of money to put on that fundraiser.
Yeah,
that's
you
what
got
I
to
was
spend
thinking,
money
yeah.
to make money.
Yeah.
Also, like fundraising for a business is such a strange thing to do.
I mean, I guess it's okay with like childcare.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, especially because we've already covered that there's no other alternatives.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I suppose once they open the bigger place, they can then have even more kids and hire even more
Yeah.
staff. And
And the parents
Yeah.
seem to be happy with the kids' development.
But they have like a bouncy castle and a band, like
yeah,
a very
I really like the bit where
Again.
Ben is drawing the adults.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it's just like a little kid's drawing
that's so
of this
sweet.
guy.
That is really cute though. To be fair, if I saw that, I would definitely pay some money to have
Yeah.
a kid, like a little 5-year-old, draw me.
Yeah, definitely.
Although I feel like after like 3 people, the kid will be like, "I'm done."
Yeah, can I have a snack now?
Reliable. Yeah. It's not reliable. They don't want to force a kid to sit there all day.
They can.
But
Some of the other kids probably like drawing too.
That's true. But yeah,
But then you see them like the ladies from the posh school are like going around and giving money to various people, and then they upturn. Oh, they put cockroaches in all the food.
Yeah.
And there was a petting zoo, and they release all the animals, like leave the gate open, and all these animals that are in the petting zoo all together.
They like unplug the bouncy castle and they replace the face paint with glue.
Yeah.
They deflate the bouncy castle while kids are inside it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is actually pretty dangerous.
Yeah, there is a point where this is like she should be in prison.
Oh yeah, this is really illegal stuff she's doing.
Yeah,
and like you could argue like attempted poisoning, attempted like grievous bodily harm with the face paint as well.
Kids as well.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely awful. Like she is genuinely evil at this point.
Yeah, there is that sudden change of like.
Yeah, well, she's like they're not. They used to be an inconvenience and now they're a threat. So we've got to take it down. Because like when it was just 15 or when it was just 13 kids, it wasn't. That's not the end. Like she's got a full primary school, hasn't she? So
the problem with that is like throughout the film she's not. Like, you could have argued the entire time she actually wants these kids to do well.
Yeah.
Like, she wants these kids to... That's why she's teaching them 5 languages, and she has all of these things. Because she wants the kids to succeed.
Yeah.
And then that scene happens, and you're like, actually, no, she doesn't actually care about the kids in any way at all, or she wouldn't be doing this.
No, it's the money, and they have to do all these fancy stuff to justify their extortionate price.
Yeah. It is kind of like there is that sudden change in her where it's like, oh, she's just a bad, and I don't like that. I don't like that she is just a bad guy. Like she isn't redeemable, whereas every other character is redeemable.
Yeah, but she also shouldn't be in childcare.
No, she shouldn't. But that was
like it's clear from the start that she doesn't get children.
No, she's like a Miss Trunchbull, but with less like spiky things.
No, but you could argue that she sees the value in teaching children very young, things the way that
I think
does.
she sees the value in that it impresses parents.
Yeah, no,
it sounds fancy.
What I'm saying is that I think the character could have been redeemable.
Yeah, and then she could have started working with Daddy Daycare or opened up maybe at the end instead of a daycare she could have started like a primary school that's got a different function, so they're only taking care of the 4 to 6 year olds or whatever, and then once they start, is it first grade or whatever in America or year 1, then they go on to her school, and her school's got rid of the uniforms and they're having lots more fun, and it's
like her character
a bit more wholesome of an ending.
Whereas like she's just an evil witch.
But it is like an Eddie Murphy comedy, so.
No, that's what I mean. Like everyone else gets a redeemed thing. Everyone else gets like a nice ending.
Yeah, even like the girl that's helping her out, the assistant, she ends up working at the new daddy. Spoilers: the new daddy daycare.
Yeah,
it would have been nice at the end if like Eddie Murphy's character approached her and was like, "Hey, you can help us like set up the You clearly know about educating children, which is something that they don't.
Yeah, like the legal side of it.
And like
they could have worked together to. And then
that's what I was saying. Like, if they made it into a feeder, like a preschool that's a feeder preschool. There's a lot of them in where I grew up, where it's like they have like little primary schools that directly have like a really close link with one of the primary schools, and then the same for like secondary schools where they do like days, like swapping days and stuff, so the kids get used to the idea and all of that.
Or just like help her set up, like go to her to help set up the education bit of the primary school.
Yeah.
Because again, that isn't something that they do. They're not good at it. That's like the one thing they're not good at, and that's like the only thing that she's actually good at organising is children's education. It just felt like that was a really loose end that they were just like, we need her to be the villain and an irredeemable villain. And I don't like that, especially with the rest of the film.
It was a bit lazy because they'd put so much thought into everyone else's character.
Yeah, like the rest of the film is about,
and she ends up as a lollipop lady.
Yeah, and like it's like a weird vindictive kind of ending, and the whole film is about development and redemption. Like that's the whole point of the film.
Exactly.
Is
like the rest of the film in general is quite sweet.
Yeah, like he's a dad.
But I didn't mind. Like it's one of those things where of course it could have been better, but I don't think it didn't ruin the film for me.
No, it's not a thing. But it's just like it's the one thing that I picked out that could have been like this film is really well written, like really well put together from like a structure standpoint. It's got all of like the tension in the right bits. It's got all of the drama, all of the stuff, and it felt like they dropped the ball on that character.
Yeah.
That's what bothered me.
She was just a bit too much of the scapegoat.
Yeah.
But
And I don't know if she appears in the other 4 sequels
oh shit, I'd forgotten there were sequels.
where
Yeah,
she
I've never
gets
seen
redemption.
I've not seen
No.
any of them, and I kind of don't want to.
No, this film.
I
Is
don't
fine
think
on
any
its
of them have Eddie Murphy in.
own. No, I think they do. I think they all do actually. Or like
I've
one
not,
of them does.
because
I think there's
I-
some.
I think-
Daycare sequel.
Because there's Daddy Day Camp and Granddaddy Daycare are the 2 that I know about.
So yeah, Daddy
And
Daycare.
Granddaddy
Daddy.
Daycare when it came out like 2 years ago.
No, it doesn't look like. Yeah, Daddy Day Camp doesn't have Eddie Murphy in.
Ah, okay.
yeah. There was one of the lines that I really
It has a
liked.
1% rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, I thought everyone does. Like this film doesn't have.
Considered to be one of the worst sequels ever produced.
Nice.
But it was
Wow.
the film was a modest box office success.
Nice.
18.2 million against a 6 million budget.
Damn.
This film is. Dan, you say your thing because I have like.
Yeah, I was gonna say like just towards the end when because they don't earn enough money from the thing, and so they're both like gonna go back to their old jobs.
Yeah.
And there's a bit where he's talking to Ben, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to go and earn money so I can buy you lots of toys." And Ben's just like, "Then I'll sell all my toys so you get lots of money."
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
It's
you'd right. He wants
because
yeah.
he wants the daycare to keep going because he's made friends.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they both go back to the job and then immediately quit and open. I can't remember where they get the money from for the
I can't
new
either.
daycare.
Well, I
don't
think
know
they've
if
been
it's-
working. They had been working on the marshmallow pitch because they get offered.
Yeah,
and I
but
guess
anyway,
they
yeah.
take out a loan or something because you
Yeah.
know the risk at that point is like the risk is worth it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they get the money, open up the nice new daycare in a big area. Marvin falls over a fence and apparently really broke his arm, and so
Yes.
they had to then cut some of his scenes because he was in a cast for like the rest of the shooting.
Oh,
he's,
right.
He's not in the
Yeah.
rest of the film.
Yeah.
But it's a sweet
Yeah.
ending. Like the kids, they have all the different sections in the daycare. So it's got like a little soft play area. It's got reading spaces. It's got like messy play spaces.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't lose the sort of homely setting, even though it's obviously a lot more commercial looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's clear that like Eddie Murphy's character still like knows all the kids.
Yeah.
And they have it's a really nice, and like I felt it was really like sweet at the end, and like
Yeah. It was really nice. It's just that one character that they kind of let go.
yeah. But that's fine. That's pretty good innings for a comedy,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
great.
especially a
Those were
comedy from
2000.
is it literally
2000?
2000? 2003.
Well, I thought it was
Yeah.
2003.
It's really good, and I always find reviews for these kinds of films really fun because there aren't any jokes in for the parents.
No, outside
Mhm.
of like the aneurysm joke and the
Yeah.
like the comic book stuff.
Yeah, but this is a kids' film, 100%. There's no like quips or like winks,
Hmm.
which is fun. Like I liked that about it. I liked that it wasn't like we've got to entertain the parents as well. And I
They
was
just made the
reading-
kids' comedy actually quite good instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They actually put effort into writing the kids' bits. But I was reading the reviews, and so many reviews, and it's always funny, where it's like, kids will enjoy this film, but adults will be bored. Like, okay, what were you expecting from a kids' film?
Yeah.
Like, why do so many
It's like,
reviewers
you mean
think-
there's a way of just sitting my kid in front of a screen for an hour and a half and they'll enjoy it and I can get on with other things?
Yeah,
And that's a problem?
why is so many reviewers so angry about, like, this film wasn't made for me?
It's like, yeah, when people go and watch Disney films as adults and they're like, these aren't as good as the ones I watched when I was a kid. And it's like, yes,
Yeah, they're
but
made for
28-year-old Martha, despite your Minnie Mouse ears, this film isn't actually for you.
Yeah, this film
No.
isn't. You're
And
not
also the
type
film
of-
that you do like, as we have discovered, it's probably just the nostalgia.
Probably not that good.
They're all about the same level.
Yeah. We can tell you, we are experts in this. We are experts in the nostalgia of 94, 93, 94 to like 2010.
Yeah.
We are masters of films made in that era. But yeah, I always find it so fucking funny when reviews are like, kids will enjoy this film, but adults will hate it. Like, it's a kids' film, Jonathan. Calm down.
It is not for you.
I think it's. I mean, I can't attest to this for sure, but I think it's quite funny for parents because of how the kids behave, and like that's probably quite relatable for them. Especially like the kid where he's like the one that's not potty trained super well, and he goes into the bathroom. He's like, "Oh, I can do it by myself," and then he comes out. It's like, "How did it go?" And then he's like, "I missed." And he's like, "Oh dear," or like thinking, "Oh, he just peed on the floor a little bit." And then like Eddie Murphy's just looking in horror around the room.
Yeah.
Reminds me of when I visited my niece when she was she was only a few weeks old, I think, last year, and as we were leaving, she I handed her over because she just done like a monster fart, and they were like, "We know where this is going." She's in a nappy and everything, but then as we were getting ready to go, I just heard Andy, my brother-in-law, from the other room going like, "Oh no, Hattie, no, stop!" As he was trying to change her nappy in the living room, and I was just like, "Oh God, I don't even want to know what's going on in there."
Yeah, I think like definitely as an adult watching this, I fully understood like the kids. I felt more for.
Yeah, I think that you can tell they put loads of effort into team building, and that there's loads of photos on the set as well of them just having fun.
Yeah, but I meant like as an adult watching it, I get the kids. Like I feel for the kids, and I understand like who like the kids are individuals, and they are very much like there are kids like every single one of them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And that felt really.
I was the dorky nerd kid.
Yeah, like. And like you said, like that's what the adults will enjoy about this film.
And I knew a kicky girl.
Yep,
and
there's the kicky kid. Yeah. There's the kid who wears the stupid thing that won't take it off.
To be fair, I also had a phase where my mum bought me matching cheetah print top and bottoms.
Nice.
And I just refused to wear anything else for ages.
Yeah.
So it wasn't quite a Flash costume. I didn't have a helmet, a mask on, but I was in, and there's like a lot of holiday photos where I'm like, this is what I'm wearing. You can't stop me.
You're like, this is my good outfit. I'm wearing this.
Yeah, I work this. This suits me.
I can pull this off. But yeah, no, like it was nice being like, oh yeah, I recognize this type of child.
Yeah,
like the and they put a lot of effort into showing each kid's individuality.
Yeah, definitely.
Like the smart girl who clearly just wanted to be like her mum, because her mum was like a businesswoman. It shows you for like 2 seconds, and you completely understand why the kid is like the way she is. Like she's on the phone to someone in China, in like Hong Kong.
Oh yeah.
And then when they're reading Green Eggs and Ham, like she's reading along with the story, whilst everyone else is just like watching.
Yeah.
It's really sweet. And then you have like the kicky kid, the angry kid who like you get why he's angry, because his parents don't deal with his emotions. They just tell him to calm down, and that's it. They tell him to calm down because if he's angry, he'll get wrinkles, which is horrible.
Yeah. Then they're not breeding like a happy environment.
Yeah. Like an actual calm environment. It's sort of forced. And yeah, it is really sweet, and it is like, oh yeah, as an adult, I understand and want to look after these, want to protect these children. Whereas like as a kid, it was like, yeah, this seems fun.
Yeah, like overall, I'd say this holds up pretty well.
Yeah, I think I'd give it out of 10. Yeah, I'd give it like 8 WWE vegetable matches out of 10. Like I had a really good time. Like this held up for me like way better than I thought it would. And there were very few yeesh moments in it.
There weren't really any, was there?
Yeah, not really at all. And even like the ones where it was like, oh, you're being like, these women are being sexist. Like they had a point. Like these women were being like, oh, men can't do it.
Yeah.
And whilst that was supposed to be part of the joke, like they don't stay incompetent. Like they learn very quickly and become very capable.
Yeah, they're incapable men, but it's really complicated actually. It's like they're incapable men because they're expected to be men.
Yeah.
Because you have like the super toxic guy at their work who is like, men shouldn't be doing daycare, that's a woman's job. It is like, oh yeah, they are incompetent because the world made them that way. and they fix it. They go out of their way to fix it.
Hmm.
That's cool, and that doesn't happen that much anymore.
Yeah, I was probably going to give this a 7. 7 out of 10 great credits bloopers, because I always enjoy credits bloopers.
Oh, my favourite one is when they're filming in Daddy. Eddie Murphy is like with his son, and they're like doing some drawing together, and he's like, "Do you want some milk?" And he's like, "Yeah. Can I have some milk after this scene?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, no. Whoops.
It's like- yeah, it was really cute. Like, I enjoyed rewatching this. I was worried it was going to be one where, yeah, I'd put it on and just be like,
This is
oh
boring.
no, this is awful. But
Yeah.
no, it was genuinely still quite enjoyable.
Yeah,
Like,
this
Yeah.
is I was so scared that it was like, this is going to be full of bad 2000s jokes,
yeah.
not going to age well, and it's going to be awful. It wasn't. It was really like well made and really well put together, and very, very of its time in the nicest way possible. Like
Yeah.
positively from its time.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I'd give it like an 8 out of 10. Just enjoyed it. Wasn't expecting to enjoy it. Enjoyed it. I'm glad we complained about Jamie Oliver. Needed to get off our chest for some reason.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
been
sorry.
amazing.
7 out of 10 ingredients in a Jamie Oliver thing that I don't have in my pantry. That's a
don't
better
have
score.
in
Why
my
don't you have
fucking
panko
garden.
breadcrumbs? Honestly.
Why don't you have homegrown tomato in your garden?
Lucky I've got a tin of beans, to be fair.
What do you mean you don't have saffron? No, 8 out of 10 kids would put up their hand when Jamie Oliver asked them if they wanted chicken nuggets.
Yeah,
This is-
part of me, like, I was genuinely worried going into this that it was going to be like a 3 or 4 out of 10 movie,
Yeah,
and I was going to
Yeah.
just have a bad time. But no, I yeah, really enjoyed it.
100%.
Yeah.
And this is a Jamie Oliver hate podcast.
Yeah. Well, with that, I have been Dan.
I have been Michael.
And I've been Helena.
You can find this podcast on Twitter and Instagram at HiltonPod. That's at HILTM Pod. We're on Discord as well, so you can share all of your great non-Jamie Oliver recipes with us.
Or what outfit you wore solidly for months at
Yes.
a time as a kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, let us know like the weird shit. Let us know which kid you were. Really. Were you the kid that just wanted to be the adult, or were you the kicking kid?
Yeah. And if you're
I
a
think
kicking
I
kid,
was-
I'm
I was
curious,
the
what
quiet
are you like
kid.
now?
Yeah, do you
Yeah.
still kick?
No, I think he hosts. I think it's called the Joe Rogan Experience. Anyway, we also have a Patreon.
Joe Rogan was definitely the Flash kid. Joe Rogan definitely wore like the same thing. I don't know why
Yeah.
he gives me that vibe, but never like grew out of it properly. Never like had the realization to be himself.
No.
He's definitely that kid.
So,
Yeah, we
we've got a
have a Patreon.
Patreon.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, you can give us some money to support the show, keep it going. And what are we doing for the Patreon
I bet
this week?
you fucking think I'm gonna be like, oh, we're gonna start a daycare, right?
No, I'm pretty sure that you're going to start some sort of like Jamie Oliver hate campaign or
Okay.
something.
Number one, how dare you? Number two, we're not going to start a daycare because I hate kids. Not like I don't hate children. I just don't want to be around them.
No, kids are great when you can give them back. That is
No,
the,
I,
I
that,
have
I mean, that is the
actually-
point of a daycare. I just want to
Yeah.
say, like,
Never be around kids.
if you're not giving them back, that's I
That's
think it's called kidnapping, and I think
That's
we've covered
literally-
before that we don't do that in our
That's
Patreon.
literally called kidnapping. Actually, no, our Patreon has been pretty kidnap heavy. if I'm
Yeah.
honest.
Okay,
Um,
well, we
but
could.
never-
I mean, a good ruse for getting the kids in.
Never actual kids. We've never kidnapped actual. We've kidnapped one actual child, and that was Ice Age, but that was for a scientific experiment
Yes.
to see
we
what would
also had
happen.
to find that kid for the medallion.
Put him up. Yeah, we didn't kidnap him though.
No.
We
Yeah, we
gave
just
him
took
back.
him away from his family and.
Yeah, we gave him back.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to do that because number one, I don't want to spend time with kids, even if it's against their will. What I want to do is I want to take all of Jamie Oliver's cookbooks and rewrite them so they do work,
Okay.
and then release them again under a different name. And then we're going to go to Jamie Oliver's house and just throw expensive food at him.
Not turkey Twizzlers.
Or no, not turkey twizzlers. Yeah, no, we're going to throw we're going to stuff turkey twizzlers into his letterbox.
I'm imagining them like hanging from the trees, like when you toilet paper something.
Oh, and just have a kid there to go, is that how turkey twizzlers grow?
Yeah.
And watch like Jamie Oliver's heart like just explode in a rage.
Yeah,
No, you stupid fucking kids.
and then we're gonna keep doing it until he complains, and then we're gonna be like, well, we would use nicer food, but it's too expensive, you twat.